In the world of big tech deals, there's this hidden multiplier that can literally add millions to a company's valuation. And no, it's not some new product or a secret algorithm. It's actually something way simpler, but it gets overlooked almost all the time. Let's dive in and see what it is, and more importantly, how you can use it.
Think about it. When a tech deal is happening, what's everyone focused on? Revenue, right? Customers, the IP portfolio. But what if there was another asset, one that's not on any standard checklist that could just dramatically pump up your company's value?
And that asset, it's not another piece of technology. It's not a killer feature. It's simply more time. More time to own a market, more time to rack up revenue, and more time before your competitors can even think about touching your space. So what in the world is this extra patent term? And if it's so incredibly valuable, why does it get totally ignored in the high-pressure cooker of a deal? Let's break it all down. Okay, so here's the deal. Every patent basically starts with a 20-year clock. But, the real world is messy. The patent office can take years to approve an application, or maybe regulatory hurdles delay your product launch. Well, extra patent term is pretty much the government's way of saying, hey, sorry for the holdup, and then tacking that lost time back onto the end of your patent's life. Now, it's super important to get this straight. We're not talking about getting more patents or some kind of extra fancy legal protection. No, we're talking about extending the single most valuable thing a patent gives you, a legally backed monopoly. This is what turns something that looks like a boring technical footnote into a massive, hidden revenue stream. All right, so how does this kind of abstract idea of time actually turn into cold, hard cash? Let's take a look at how it can completely change the math on a potential deal. The impact is just crystal clear. When a buyer is building a financial model for your company, every single extra year of exclusivity gets plugged right into their projections. A patent that expires in 2031 instead of, say, 2028? Well, that means 3 more years of high-margin revenue, which directly bumps up the price they should be willing to pay. It's that simple. And this isn't just a small bump either. The source material is really clear on this. We're not talking about rounding errors here. Depending on the product, depending on the industry, those extra years could be the most profitable part of the entire deal. We're talking a massive swing in the final valuation. Let's put a simple number on it. Imagine your main product brings in $10 million a year. If your patent gets a 3-year extension, that's a potential $30 million in protected revenue. $30 million that competitors can't get a piece of. Now, that's a powerful number to bring to the negotiating table. Okay, so you get it. It's valuable. But how do you actually turn this knowledge into a real advantage when you're in a high-stakes negotiation? How do you play this card? It really comes down to a simple 3-step playbook. First, you've got to know your real timeline. Dig in and find the actual expiration dates with all the adjustments, not just the standard ones. Second, you reframe the entire story. Stop talking about patent coverage and start talking about years of market control. And finally, you negotiate with time itself. You anchor your company's value to the length of your market exclusivity. And the best part is, you can start shaping the buyer's thinking before you even sit down with them. In the data room, where they do all their homework, don't just give them a boring list of patents. Proactively highlight the ones with extended terms. Show them the math. Frame it as a core strategic advantage that proves your company is going to be a moneymaker for longer than they thought. See, this is how you do it. You have to speak their language. This quote is just perfect because it translates a dry legal detail, 30 extra months, into a clear, exciting financial outcome. Uninterrupted cash flow until a specific, far-off date. Trust me, that's the kind of language that makes a CFO sit up and pay attention. And hey, this strategy isn't just for when you're selling the whole company. If you're licensing your tech, the exact same principle applies. A longer period of exclusivity makes your license way more valuable. It lets you justify higher royalty rates and lock in longer contracts. It gives you the power to wait for the perfect partner because you know your asset is safe for longer. So what this all really means is that this insight should fundamentally change how you look at your entire IP portfolio. It's not just a dusty pile of legal documents to be filed away. It's a strategic tool you can use to actively create value. You should be tracking your patent timelines with the same obsession that you track your revenue. Seriously. Make patent term analysis a standard part of your business reporting. It's an active, value-creating process, not just some passive, defensive chore your lawyers handle. There's also a huge psychological advantage here. Just knowing your protection runs longer gives you this incredible sense of control. You can plan your next big moves with patience and precision, instead of just frantically reacting to what your competitors are doing. And that stability, acquirers and investors can feel it, and it naturally makes them more confident in your business. So the real takeaway from all of this is pretty simple. Your company's timeline is one of its most valuable and yet most hidden assets. So the question you really have to ask yourself is this: are you tracking it? Are you communicating its value? Or are you just leaving millions and millions of dollars right there on the table?